Hi everyone, welcome to Stampin' Storytellers. Thanks for joining me. Today I have a card using the whitewash technique. I think that's what it's called. I haven't actually looked it up, but it's where you color on black cardstock using your craft white ink. So today we are going to use the Inspiring Iris stamp set. This stamp set can be found in our 2019-2020 Annual Catalogue. And then along with it, we are going to pair it with the Golden Honey Specialty Designer Series paper. That is a free Sale-A-Bration item for the months January, February, and March. If you spend $60 on any product, whether it's from our new spring mini catalog or our annual catalog, you can choose this item for free. So let's get started with a piece. I'll show you the layout first, I guess. I have a 11 inch by 4 1/4 piece of cardstock. We'll fold that in half for our card base, and this is basic black. Then I have a layer of Whisper White that's 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Then a layer of our specialty paper. So there's black and white on the back, and then this is the B side of it, I guess, but it's with the gold foil. So I've cut this out, and this will be for a different project. I just want to show you that you can utilize the most out of your cardstock if you cut a rectangle or a shape or a punch out of the inside. So we'll put that aside, and that piece is going to layer here. Then I have the next size up in stitched rectangle that is going to layer here. So that will cover up that hole that we made. So we'll put that aside. And then I have a stitched nested labeled die. This is from the die set that coordinates with the Free as a Bird stamp set. And that is going to go here. So this is the piece that we're going to stamp and whitewash. So I'll bring in my Versamark ink pad and whoops, just a scrap piece of paper. And we're going to use the largest iris stamp. It's the outline image. So we'll ink this up in Versamark and stamp that in the center of our tag. And then on a strip of black, it's just a 1/4 inch strip, I'm going to also ink up in Versamark our thanks and stamp that down on there. Actually, that piece had a crease on it. We'll stamp that one more time on this side. Put my ink pad away, and I keep my embossing powder just in these Rubbermaid containers, just so that it's easier to dip it in and you don't have to clean it up after. So then you can just tap it off. So this is white embossing powder. I'm stuck to my finger. And this one might be a little trickier. I'll just bend it. There we go. And then we will use our heat tool to emboss those. And there we go. We'll let that cool. And this thank you has a little bit too many specks on it. I can't find my embossing buddy, so I'll just use my sleeve. And we'll stamp that one more time. one's much better. It just had too much grease from my fingers. But if you do have an embossing buddy, then you can use that to wipe across your paper first. There we go. So you can see the difference between the one on the left has a lot of extra powder and the one on the right is totally clear. I usually just leave my sleeve, or use my sleeve to wipe across my paper first. But I think I left my embossing buddy at a class. So now we can take, I just have a clear block with some white ink on it. So this is just the refill for your classic white Stampin' pad. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. And then I'm going to use a blender pen. So I've kind of dedicated one end of one blender pen. You can see that there's a little bit of ink on it. But it doesn't affect the use of your pen. It's just that it looks stained. So we're going to pick up a little bit of the ink and start on the outside edge of your petal and brush it in. And then rotate and keep going until you've finished your full image. So then as you go along, just add a little bit to each petal. Fill in the center. And then once it's mostly dry, you can go back and add. So this first one that I've done, now I can add, it's like paint strokes on the edge to get that more variegated look. And then we can do our second flower. And there we go. So you see that we have, my second one is a little bit darker. I was a little more generous with the ink, but we can go back into this one and add a little bit more. And there we go. So I'm going to set this aside and I will be right back. So these layers I'll just simply adhere to our card base. So I'll start with my Whisper White. And center that there. Then we can adhere our Specialty Designer Series paper layer. And the reason why I like to glue this one down to my card base first, so that when I glue this one down, I don't get glue everywhere on my work surface if I was just gluing my DSP to the white layer on my work surface. Then I'm going to pop this layer up on dimensionals. You could also use adhesive strips if you have those. So I'll center that. And then you won't even be able to tell that I kept a rectangle of our Designer Series paper. Then I'm also going to pop this layer up, but because it's still a little damp, I'm just going to put this like this. and then place it on the top here. There we go. Then we have our sentiment, and I'm going to use the tailored tag punch to punch. What side do I want? This side? Maybe I'll tuck it under there. So I'll do this side. And then I'll tuck it under there. So I'll just trim it to how far we want it to stick out. That looks great. Then one step underneath that sentiment, I'm going to add some of our gold metallic thread. So I'm going to wrap it around 3 of my fingers pretty tightly. I don't know how many times this is, 9 or 10. Trim that off, and then I'm going to stick it all on a glue dot. I'm going to try to stick it all to a glue dot. There we go. And then I'm going to stick that right on where our sentiment is going to go, and then I can kind of fluff it out. And I don't like this big end, so I'm going to trim that closer to where the glue dot is. Then I'll put 2 dimensionals on this strip. And because this one is up on dimensionals too, I can still tuck it underneath. And tack that down. So there is our card layout for you. One other step you can do if you want some extra bling is to use these are our epoxy drops. They come in frosted and clear in the same package. I'm just going to sprinkle, as Rhonda Wade would say, sprinkle a few of these. That one there. And then one on this side. There we go. So there's the card we made today. I do have just a plain 5 1/4 by 4 inch for the inside. I couldn't decide what to put on the inside because I think the front is a little blingy enough that the inside didn't really need anything. And to stamp white on white, you wouldn't see it very much. So I just like that look for the front. And then here is another one I made using the stitch squares. Same sort of idea, just a different layout. And instead of putting the gold foil behind our designer series paper, I put it on top. I hope you enjoyed my card today. If you would like to purchase any of these items, like the Inspiring Iris stamp set, or place an order to get this designer series paper for free, please visit my shopping page on my blog, stampinstorytellers.blogspot.com, and if you use this host code, then you'll also receive a make and take packet in the mail. I hope you enjoyed my video today, and thanks for joining me. Bye.